Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to We Know Texas Vino. We are so excited to be here. My name is Michael.
Yes, Will.
And you know what, Will? I think we need a little vivacious attitude in this podcast.
I think you're right. I mean, we're missing something.
Who's that
here.
girl over there?
I don't know. Some stranger over there.
Hey, guys.
Hey, it's Jen. Hey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. And this is We Know Texas Vino.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, everybody. So I didn't die coming in over here today.
What's that now?
I didn't die.
No. What do you mean? Walking into this beautiful facility?
No, I rode in a fast Camaro with you, Michael.
My nice new Camaro?
Yeah. You
like that?
You was chirping those gears when I was coming over here.
I had to buy my wife a little present, and we decided the Chevy Silverado was fun, and it was very beautiful, but the Camaro is sexy, so we bought that for her.
Yeah, I
drove it today.
Yeah, it was great to ride in there with you. I kind of had to hold on a little bit.
Right.
I had to roll out to get out.
How big are you? You're 6'3"-ish?
6 foot, 250.
250. And so watching you get out was an episode in itself. And in fact, we're going to talk to Dewayne in a minute about manufacturing and producing. We're going to figure out how we manufactured you getting in that Camaro. And then the beautiful thing is watching you get out. It was absolutely one of my favorite parts of the day so far. Well, welcome back, everyone. Hey, episode 30 of We Know Texas Vino. We're very excited to have our listeners on board here. We're here with a great couple. We've already had a pregame talk with them. We've already laughed a lot. And so we're pretty excited to hear about their adventures here at Cedar Hollow Winery and Vineyard in Farmersville, Texas. And for our listeners, if you don't know where Farmersville is, Will, do you want to tell them where Farmersville is? Or should we have Dewayne and Amy do that?
I want to say Farmersville is what, northeast of Greenville?
Is that
no.
south?
It's going to be
west.
Straight
West of Greenville.
Sorry, northwest.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Straight west.
Straight west. Oh, really?
Okay.
Right between Greenville and McKinney.
Okay. That's what we drove through McKinney and we had to get to Greenville, so straight west of there. Yeah. So, hey, the first 29 episodes were fantastic. We've had a great time. And this is episode 30. This is like what do you call it? Benchmark, a milestone. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, welcome everyone. We're glad to be here. So, we're the great couple today. This is Dewayne and Amy Hill, and we're at their beautiful establishment.
Yes.
You guys, welcome. This is so cool. Cedar Hollow Winery and Vineyard. So, real quick, Amy, what are we drinking here to start the day with?
Drinking our Amarone
Amarone,
today.
okay.
Yes, it is our wine that won Best of Class in the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition this past January.
Congratulations.
And we're very proud of that. When the awards came through, I didn't believe it at first. I had to get a piece of paper like a ruler and go across, make sure it was our name, our wine, and Best of Class, because we beat out 47 other wines in California.
That is amazing.
Nice.
Congratulations. Was that a celebration for you guys? I mean, that was a high five.
There was a lot of people here. We were full that night, and I come running out. We won. And everybody's like, I want a bottle. I want a glass. I want this. I want that.
Nice. So that's from California or out of Texas? The best in class.
Best of class. And it was the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition in California.
Wine competition in the country.
Yeah, that's right. And we've had several people who have entered stuff, but I mean, the best of class is a beautiful thing. So
that's a big thing.
It's very tasty, and we're very excited to start the day off with this. It is actually past noon, so our curfew's over, so we're ready to do it. But, Will, real quick, let's get into this so we can introduce this great couple to our listeners around the world. And where can people reach out to us, Will?
So you can find us on our new website at weknowtexasvino.wine.
Beautiful.
You can also find us on Facebook at We Know Texas Vino. And then, of course, you can find us on any podcasting platform out there. And give us a 5-star rating. Give us a review. Tell us what you like to hear about us, what you don't like about hearing us.
Right.
Tell us you miss Jen.
Right, Miss Jen. Jen, we miss you.
Yeah, Jen, we miss you.
Our girl who is studying this. I think she has a big test tomorrow. So she's going to be a wine connoisseur here pretty soon. She'll be the authority. On our podcast.
She'll be the smart one here. The rest of us aren't.
Yes. Awesome. Well, good. Well, thank you, Will. And thanks for all your hard work, too. And 30 episodes we talked about this morning. That means every Sunday for 30 weeks you have published, edited, whatever you do behind the scenes. Thanks for doing all that. So we're grateful.
No
but let's get at this. Let me read a quote real quick. You guys ready for this quote? We are a small batch, handcrafted winery with a fresh approach to the wine making scene. We love Farmersville and the people of North Texas, and we're excited for the future of this area. Dewayne, are those your words, my friend?
Yes, they are.
Okay, tell us about it. Why are you so excited?
Well, we're excited that we found this property, which is right on the Collin-Hunt County line, for one thing. Great location right off the highway. It's just a stone's throw from 380, quarter mile, actually.
Quarter mile.
Right across the cornfield. And so it's really easy to get in and out of. We're looking at property all over the North Texas area when I accidentally found this property as I was out just riding a motorcycle one day.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a real godsend for us, just to find the place to set up our winery. And we were looking at just raw land, just to build something from scratch. And this was a good place to start. You know, we had a building here that was already, you know, kind of charming and a big patio and just, you know, having 16 acres to work with. We have enough room, you know, to plant several acres in vines and build a house as well. And I kind of jumped right into clearing the land before we actually even bought the property. I was out cutting trees.
Is that legal?
And I know, right?
Well, the owner told him he could do that. you
Oh,
know?
nice.
The owner let me do it. He's like, yeah, he can even use my equipment because that's, you know, what he did was excavation work. So
Okay.
he gave me the keys to his, you know, track loader, and I went out and started, you know, mowing down trees. And
Wow.
Nice.
I didn't actually start digging the ponds right away. I bought a piece of equipment, and then she finally had to ground me from that because I was spending hundreds of hours in it.
Too much fun. That's fun.
Big boy toys. You gotta let us
Yeah.
play those toys.
Oh yeah, for sure. But there
Boys
was
will be boys.
another part of the, I guess, attraction to Farmersville is there's nothing else like this in this area.
Mhm.
Perfect.
You have wineries in McKinney,
Mhm.
and you have one or two in Greenville now. I believe a new one's opened up. But so we're the only thing in this area like this where people can actually come, sit down, taste wines. We have a food menu as well. So it gives everybody somewhere to go where they don't have to drive, you know, for 20 or 30 minutes.
That's
Right.
so
To
great
get
for a
there.
community, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously your community is what you're doing here is, you know, build those relationships, but it's really great for a smaller community to have a really cool venue
Yeah.
like this. I'm assuming music and different things that you do here. So good for you both. So I'm curious, Dewayne, you were on the motorcycle, you're driving in this area. Was it like an aha moment? Was it literally like starstruck? You're like, this could be it.
It sort of was. I just stopped at Dairy Queen, I think, and got something to drink, and I was flipping through my phone, the Zillow listings on my phone, and this had just been listed. So I rode by. I didn't even drive down the driveway because it's gravel, and I didn't know what was down.
To expect.
You can't really
You know.
see back down the
Right.
property. So
Gravel and motorcycles don't equal together
Yeah.
correctly. You know that, right?
so I just texted her and I said, I found something we need to come look at. And the cool thing is when we came back together to look at the property, there were actually 7 other vehicles out here
Oh,
looking
wow.
at it. There were people making offers above the asking price, but the previous owner, he liked our idea for the property.
that's
And
very cool.
He actually
Nice.
worked with us for about 3.5 months to get everything in order for us to buy it and turn down other offers, that he could have made more money selling it to them. But
Well, that's a sentimental thing. That owner, obviously, he saw the beauty and the potential, and then you guys
Yeah.
had the vision and the energy to do that. So that's really cool. It was meant to be. It sounds like,
Right.
yeah, very
so,
cool.
yeah, several things have fallen in place. It just made everything work out really well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what
Interesting.
year was that, you guys? What year did you guys make that all happen?
2020.
Yeah,
Oh, so it was
During
just-
COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
During it was right during
Yeah.
COVID. The
Right.
summer of COVID, is that what we call it?
We found it in October,
Okay.
about September, October. We found the property, and then we actually closed at the very end of December 2020.
Wow.
And then we got
Yeah.
married out here on
Oh,
January 1st
What?
of 2021.
Yeah, like 4 days
So,
later, we had our wedding.
Whirlwind.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And, wow. And I'm looking at the picture right now. We're in a beautiful facility here, but I saw that picture when I walked in. That's really fun. So that is in 2021, you said?
January 1st.
January 1st,
New Year's Day.
2021. Well, that's exciting. So what kind of adventures have you had? Obviously clearing land. And I'm going to talk here in a minute, Dewayne. I'm going to put you I'm going to throw you under the bus here in a minute, but I've heard about 2 injuries already that you've had. So what kind of adventures did you have just really buying the property, and what were some of the ups and downs of that experience?
Well, let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is just the commuting back and forth from Allen.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because Amy was still working full time as a nurse in Addison.
Yeah.
Oh,
From
mercy.
Allen to Addison.
It's a long drive.
Mhm.
So a lot of back and forth. 2.5 years actually of back and forth from there to develop. What you see here. In fact, it was just how long ago that you?
I just quit in May, the
Yeah.
end
Oh,
of May.
Congratulations. So you retired in May?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is my
beautiful.
retirement plan
I
from
love it.
medical into the wine. Yes.
Medical into hard work every single day for the rest of your life.
Wine is good for the health, so it's technically medical.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is, yes. And
Medicinal.
wine is good for you, good for your heart.
That's cool.
So yeah, there's that, and then just the projects. I love building things. So
Mhm.
all about just building anything she wants done.
Wow.
Like the entrance, with the barrels.
That's pretty cool. We took pictures.
Yeah. Well, that took 1.5 years to get that done.
Okay.
She wanted it done right away.
I did. I came up with a concept and just drew it out on papers at work and said, "Here, this is what I want. Make
Okay.
this happen."
Yeah. And he did it.
It finally did. Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
So that's why I got grounded from digging in the pond, because she wanted the gate done, and I was still digging in the
Get
pond.
the gate done. Pond duty done. So that was an obstacle or a success story? I mean, what are some of the things you ran into that were just, I mean, and I'm going to talk to Amy next about this, because usually the female perspective is a little bit more mature and realistic.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
But I've run into a lot of trees. I've
Okay.
run into some interesting things under the ground as I was digging the ponds,
Oh.
like old tractor
Nice.
parts and truck parts.
The concrete walls.
Concrete wall.
Model A frames.
Yeah, with barbed wire wrapped around them. So obviously they were used for fence posts at some point. Just wheels and just all kinds of artifacts in the ground.
Right.
Not much worth holding on to for display, but
They're not going to museums to the archaeological discoveries.
Anytime you dig up an old creek bed, you're going to find a
Uh-huh.
lot of interesting artifacts. But there's also a series of concrete dams under the ground through this creek bed that were put in by the farmers 100 plus years ago to control the erosion. And so a couple of them are still visible at the back, but they obviously they only worked for a while. They
Right.
got covered up, and now they're anywhere from 8 to 20 feet down under the ground.
Interesting.
So that's
Wow.
this whole property was actually a creek bed. If you look at the satellite image, it still shows it as a creek bed. And so yeah, that's.
Are you worried about flooding?
No, we've pretty much got that.
Okay. Got it figured out.
control.
Okay.
We've had some really flash flood rains over the last couple
Right.
of years.
Yeah.
Put that to the test. And,
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay. And Amy, I mean, you obviously are the partner in this amazing adventure, but what are some of the things you run into, obstacles maybe, and also some of you've been smiling ever since we walked in here, so you're obviously a happy human being. But what are some of the really fun things? Obviously serving the community, but what are some of the great things that you've achieved as well in this industry?
Oh, wow. Well, I love wine, and that's why, I'm smiling all the time because I love wine.
Because you're drinking wine.
And I have loved learning about the process since I've met Dewayne. Part of that is I've been reading books and doing more to find out how it works, how the wine works, from turning it from juice into the wine that we drink. And I taste it, love doing that. I have a great palate, not a sommelier, wish I was, but I can pick up on things that most people don't. And so I love doing that. I love mixing the wines, and I've created our two original, what I call flagship blends that have both won medals.
You did that. You did that.
He made the wines.
Yeah.
And then I did the blending.
Oh, good for you.
And I sat there like all day, just blending, mixing, measuring, and came up with our Quattro Bianchi, which is our white blend, and our Broken Rocker Red, which is our red blend. They've both won awards, and Broken Rockers won 3.
Wow.
And Quattro has a silver. So,
And when I woke her up off the floor the next morning.
Right.
I think you're onto something here.
Yeah.
Now, when you woke her up, did you
You did
spur it down with water hose or ice
my
water?
Broken
But no, it's
glasses
been
everywhere.
fun just decorating the place, getting
Yep.
things like my father built the mantle that you see up there because there was no mantle there.
Nice.
And he's helped us along the way. And then he's done some remodeling along the building. And I've asked for a lot of things to be done that he's actually finally come through and done, like we talked about the gate. So
Yeah, sure. Well, awesome.
yeah.
Well,
But
it's
it's
good to
fun
have a
seeing
handyman
that
on
happen
board.
and
Sure.
grow.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things that we've always talked about at all these wineries we've been at is there's a lot of family involvement in
Right.
every winery. It's not just a husband and wife or whatever, and then the family's not involved whatsoever. There's always family on the property at some time helping out somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a collective, just energy, right?
Yeah.
People just want to do something awesome. So you guys obviously have that same thing happening
Sure.
here. But
And that extends to the community as well, because I'd have to say that really the best thing that's happened overall is just the people we've met, the local crowd that, everybody's really supportive. We
that's great.
get invited to more things than we could ever attend.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we, try to reciprocate on that with everything in town. We support all the local businesses, and it's just been a really good community to fall into and become a part of. That's overall, it's been the best part.
Yeah, and
That's so cool.
I really enjoy seeing the people when they come and they're enjoying themselves. They're having a good time. They're enjoying the wines. They're enjoying the food. And they're having friends or family that they're visiting with and just having a good time. And that's what I love to do.
Right.
So I love seeing them coming here to our place and they're having that experience.
Right.
Sharp
So-
contrast
so,
to the business she was in before.
Right.
It was,
cutthroat.
Always so unhappy about something.
Medical field.
Yeah.
A lot of politics, a lot of different things happening with supervision and stuff. Yeah. Well, it's obvious you guys have built a great culture here. I'm going to read one more quote off your website. This is from Dewayne. We make a wide variety of wines that you would not expect to find being made in a little town like Farmersville, Texas, which is kind of cool. You guys have created a culture, though. To me, I can see this group of people. Your customers are here. We have some in the building right now. They're happy. But how important is it to have created that culture right out of the gate to make sure people are comfortable here? But what I'm sensing, and please, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sensing trust, a lot of trust with your community, with you guys. You said the word reciprocate, which is pretty cool. That's each of you rubbing each other's backs. But is that something you have built intentionally? Is that trust with your community, and then of course them to trust you down the line?
And we started that in the very beginning when we got married. So that picture that you see on the mantle is not just a picture of us. It's showing the advertising for the local businesses that I found within a 2-week period before Christmas to do it. It's the photographer, it's the baker, and it's the florist that are all here, local Farmersville businesses. So we started right off the bat supporting local, showing that that's what we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. Yeah, that I commend y'all for doing that, because that's something that's what's missing in today's society is supporting local businesses. It's all about supporting businesses that are bigger corporate businesses or businesses overseas and stuff like that. You don't see that nowadays is supporting the local businesses. And I commend y'all for doing that.
Right. And we've also done a collaboration with a couple of businesses in town as well.
Perfect.
There's a soapery and they use our grape skins. Once we're done through the fermenting process and we take them out of the tanks, we give it to them. They dry them out and they make some of their products, some facial scrubs, soaps, and different things. And they put our name on there and they use our corks in them. So that's a really unique thing. And then the coffee shop, I collaborated with them on a coffee and chocolate, wine and chocolate pairing at their coffee shop that they invited me to do with the chocolates that they sell in our wines. So
I think Michael needs to get the contact with doing the facial scrubs and all that, because he's kind of
facial scrubs. Yes, with the cork. I like the cork part of it. That sounds pretty cool. Awesome. Well, let's back up just a notch here. As I look at my notes here. And so, how did this happen, you guys? I mean, you come from nursing, the medical world, and you probably spent a couple days doing that, I would imagine. And then Dewayne, you come. If I heard you correctly, pregame. Tell me about your background a little bit, and then where did the wine come into play here? How did this happen?
Parachuted in from parts, and I can't tell you. But
okay.
Oh, is that top secret clearance there?
Right, yeah.
Okay, I just had to have that clearance. No, I'm just kidding.
No, really. This is actually my third winery to be involved with.
Oh, interesting.
Helped a couple others get started over in Fort Worth in the past, and one was with a ex relationship. So the business worked out good. The relationship not so much. So we'll just leave that one.
I said I roll on the other side of the table here.
That's kind of where it was when I got first interested in the wine business. But that led into the second venture, which with someone I met along the way that wanted to get into the wine production business and had the money to do it. So I worked with them for a couple of years, starting up a production wine facility, making thousands of gallons of wine. With a limited amount of experience, but he's like, let's just see what we can do with it. So we did, and that's where I really got a little more knowledgeable about the resources in the industry of where do you buy juice in bulk, and where do you get all the ingredients that you need, and how does that all happen? And so after a couple of years of that, that was going really well. And it was through him that I ended up meeting Amy just by, kind of a random chance. I just actually driven all the way back from Florida on a job I was doing down there. A contractor, basically. Anything for money is what I do.
Friday nights are my biggest nights.
But I had just skipped my sister's birthday, which I would normally have gone to Louisiana and been there. But she was like, just head on home. I'm not really feeling well. And then it was the next night that our mutual friend, Al, invited me to come to a bar in downtown Fort Worth, which I normally wouldn't have done. But I thought, what the heck, I'll go for 15, 20 minutes. I'll stop in and see what's going on. Ended up staying there till 2 a.m. because I met her.
It's a good night.
At 2 a.m, we're in a carriage riding around, downtown Fort Worth talking, and from there it's just been.
And he had that shirt on.
Yeah, I wore
when
this
we
shirt
met.
today because
So if you notice on the back
Symbolic.
of it,
Yeah, I saw the back when I was.
love the wine you're with. That became our tagline. So you see it on our shirts.
I
You
saw
see it on the
that.
building.
Yeah, I did see that, and I was thinking to myself, that's awesome. I like that.
That's really
I thought I'd
cool.
wear it today because it's part of the story.
Yeah.
You bet.
But Al was a mutual friend of ours, and he didn't tell you this part, that for those 2 years that he was starting Al off and producing wine, Al was telling me about this wine guy I met, and he's going to make me wine. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to make a lot of money. But I told him about me, and he said, I know this girl, and if she doesn't like your wine, I'm not going to sell it. So he kept trying to get us together, and neither one of us had the time for that. And finally, we made the time and ended up at the same place at the same time. And
Well, it sounds like destiny, because if you're in a carriage ride hours after you meet in Fort Worth, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it sounds kind of similar to my story, but this is not about me. This is about
not
y'all.
the Will. We know Will's history, yes. But Amy, so elaborate a little bit more, because obviously Dewayne had that passion. He knew something about the wine industry, and you enjoy wine like most of us. But were you super excited to meet a gentleman who had that passion, that vision, and then suddenly maybe you were able to live out a dream or a goal you had in life? Now, where did this all come from?
Well, I had already started sort of building that dream of my own in the nursing field. I've done that for 30 years. So I knew it was kind of time to change a little bit, or at least do something that was different to give myself a break. And I wanted to try to just run a wine bar for somebody if I could find someone that was in need, because I've always loved tasting wines, going out with my girlfriends, traveling, doing tastings all over the place, and picking up on that. And I thought it'd be so much fun to do. And when I met Dewayne, and he's done it before, and then he started giving me the books to read and learning more about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do this. This is great. And we were both super excited about it, and just kind of fed off of each other's energy.
Absolutely.
And then we started looking around, and here we are. We found Farmersville, and it's
Awesome.
working
It's
out
here.
really well.
It's amazing, for sure. Well, when I walked in, I sensed immediately, Dewayne, when I met you, that you have a real nice presence to you, authoritative, that sort of thing. But since then, I've changed my mind a little bit. I think Amy is the general of this show, and it's pretty cool. So, Amy, on a daily basis, we know winemaking, we know owning properties. It is a daily list of items you have to accomplish, everything from the tasting room to getting things ready for music. So you seem to have an ability to create lists, and I know Dewayne is an amazing man. He's taking care of those things. But what does your day look like, Amy, as an entrepreneur, but also now as an owner of a winery?
Oh, goodness. Well, there's a lot of work to be done always. So first off, it's kind of checking the wines, in the morning, seeing where we are on the different tanks, what they need to be done next, whether it's racking the wine or it's adding the different things into them, whether that's the preservatives or the clearing agents. And then we need to bottle. So we do all that on site as well. And we set everything up and get that going when we're able to. And we keep everything clean, because being a nurse, I'm huge into hygiene and cleanliness. So it's gotta be bang on right and clean. So but that's it. You start the day just, with your coffee first, and then you progress into the wine, working that, and just kind of get ready for the day, clean the building, open up, and get the kitchen ready.
And does the list for Dewayne, is it around 40 or 50 items, or what would you say is the normal day for
sleep
Dewayne?
till like 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe,
and then get up at 1 o'clock.
He gets up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, and he'll have like 2 tanks of wine racked before I wake up.
I didn't want to jump in there, but
Yeah.
that's really, I would say, one of the big keys for the wine with me is I like to get up at, butt crack of dawn and turn on the music and just be in here working on the wine and getting everything done before it gets busy, and just listening to music and working on the wine and drinking my coffee.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I found out a long time ago that actually wine tastes really good in the morning with coffee.
It does.
It's part of the job. You have to taste it when you're.
You do own a winery.
Yeah.
After all, I mean, that'd be right. We've experienced that.
We did the Hillman, and we were at their location at 9:30 in the morning.
9:30,
and we were drinking right out of the barrels.
Yeah.
I mean, what better way to
We had
start a day off?
no problem with that whatsoever.
I mean,
pretty
granted,
awesome.
we drank like 13 bottles the night
Yeah, it was
before.
pretty good.
but-
But-
A lot of people say you drink coffee until wine, but you can actually drink both together.
I agree.
It works.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we're going to have to separate the coffee and the wine.
I can tell you try it.
Let's go with Dwayne's philosophy. I like that a lot better. So
Well, we do actually have a really popular wine that is
That's
a
a blend of
mix
both.
of coffee and the wine together, and it's a dessert wine called Java Bliss, and we are currently out of
Java
that because
Bliss.
it's so popular.
Yeah.
wow.
So we're going to make another batch pretty
Wow.
soon.
I'm
Yeah.
not a big sweet person, but I would definitely give that a whirl just because of that.
Well, I think we need to learn a little bit more here. And my next question is a little bit more intense, maybe, but you guys have a business model here, and the business model is unique. We were excited to come out here and learn about it. But Dewayne, you had mentioned earlier when we were doing pregame that not all of the wines come from Texas. So what is your philosophy? What are you and Amy doing to bring in wines from outside? And how are you really incorporating the Texas enthusiasm into your business model here at your establishment?
Well, I would say that, we're very proud of Texas and being here. Love Texas. I'm from Louisiana originally, but I got here as quick as I could.
Okay.
Back in 1986. Yeah. So it's been nearly 40 years now.
All good.
But yeah, we're excited to have our own vines in the ground and producing our own wines eventually from that. But that takes years.
Yes, sir.
At minimum. So there's also plenty of options for sourcing juice and or grapes from Texas. A lot of people do that, and in all forms. From raw material to shiners. It's already you just put a label on. But we like the idea of producing our own wine, doing all the fermenting, all the, the process and bottling here.
And doing that here in Texas.
Yeah, and doing it here in Texas.
Beautiful.
And if I interject a little bit about what we mentioned on the Amarone earlier, from the competition in California, they actually equated Texas to California as California was to France back in the 70s with the movie Bottle Shock. If you've seen that movie?
I have not yet seen it.
We've been advised to watch it.
It's a good movie. You should watch it, but it talks about how the California wines came on in the early 70s and they went to a French competition, French judges, blind, and they won. And then all of a sudden California jumped out into the world of, they beat French wines. Now Texas is coming out and we're really proud to have a Texas winery here and be making our wines here in Texas because at that competition, with our Amarone being best of class, there was an article written by a periodical after that saying how 12 Texas wineries bested what California had to offer in this competition. And they listed those 12 wineries. And I have the article back there if you want to see it.
I would love to take a picture of it.
The number 1 and 2 are a local winery that you'll find in the grocery stores. Very popular, very good winery. And number 3 is Cedar Hollow.
Oh, that's so cool.
So out of those 12, and that was just a really proud moment for us being from Texas and now how Texas is coming out doing that to California, what California did to France. So
we've asked that. How many times have we asked that for the last 15 episodes? You know, what's going on with Texas? So that was such a beautiful story. It was absolutely perfect. It really solidified what we've been arguing. That is that Texas has got something going on here. And you guys are you're in the middle of it, man.
Sure.
So you're from Texas, 100%. Okay.
Yes.
And you're not. So
he's been 40 years.
No judging both of y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
But born and raised in Texas, I'm 100% pure Texan, and I believe all Texas 100%. And when I started drinking wine 4 years ago, I didn't understand the difference between a Texas wine and a California wine, or a Washington wine, or Oregon wine until I started drinking it. Until I met this man right here, and we started talking. And I started reading because I'm an engineer. I started reading and understanding wine and the grapes. And then I started understanding, when they say a Texas wine, that means the fruit came from Texas and it's developed and created and made here in Texas. That's what a Texas wine is. And it just started kind of snapping to me. And I was like, you know what? These California people better watch out.
Right.
We got some of the best stuff growing around here because we have just about every type of environment that you see over in Europe.
Right.
Well, did you know that Texas was growing grapes 100 years before California even started?
Because those Catholics needed their wine.
Right.
And you just think about all that, like you just said, all the different terroirs around the world. Texas has that. North, south, east, coastal regions, West Texas. You've got a little bit of everything in the state.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to get back on task on the question, but I want to talk about that real quick. And that is that is one of the things that Texas, maybe Amy, they haven't defined yet, is those areas and like regions of Europe, regions of France, regions of California. I don't know if we've really isolated that here. I think it's one of the things that will probably happen in the next 10, 15, 20 years is learning different areas. And, I think that's a big part of it. Right. So, so I'm going to get back to that question, but I have one more question maybe for Amy. And that is, tell us about your land here. What is so exciting and what are you excited to grow here, and what have you researched and what have you learned from maybe Texas A&M or some of the other great, I guess academias that has taught you what to go after here? What are you going to grow here?
Okay, that's a good question. We did have our soil tested when we first bought the property, A&M Commerce, and they told us that our soil is conducive to growing some white varietals, and so we're thinking of the Albarino, which grows really well in Texas, and then also some of the darker Spanish reds. And everybody in Texas grows Tempranillo, right? So I'm sure we'll have a row or two of that. But Tannat is really coming out in Texas now.
Right.
Tannat is becoming the Texas wine. You know, kind of like Cabernet is in California, the Pinot Noir is in Oregon. Well, Tannat is going to now be Texas.
First time I've heard that.
That's the first time I've heard that too.
So we're going to be growing some of that. Hopefully it'll be available when we're ready to start planting the vines, because you have to go through the people who grow them and they graft them so they're more disease resistant. But that's what I'm looking forward to when we get it, along with some of the ones that they say, oh, you can't do that in Texas. I'll say, hold my wine and watch me, because we're going to try.
Life, right?
Yes, we will try.
Good for you. Right. That's exciting. Well, let's bring it back then, Dewayne, to the business model. I know you guys have a lot of great things here. You told us you have 26 of your own wines here. Is that a correct number?
That's right.
And then what are some of the other things, the other avenues you guys have gone to in terms of providing wines for the community?
Well, we wanted to have a wide variety, you know, for, you know, because there's always, you know, the wine that someone asks about and you don't have. And,
True.
And we wanted to try to cover that, and not just offer our wines, but, you know, have some from other places. And I have, you know, some friends in California and Sonoma that, you know, is a well-known winemaker out there. So we brought his wines in initially, and then a few others. But that's more of Amy's area of just, you know, managing the menus and deciding what to carry and all that.
And the wines that we carry that are not ours are not wines you can just go pick out at the grocery store.
Right.
They're wines that come from overseas, Italy, France, Spain, Argentina. You
We're
just can't get them at the
gaps.
grocery store,
Right.
but they're wines that we don't have. Like, you know, we have a Barbera, comes from Italy because we don't have one.
Right.
You know, we have the Tempranillo from Spain right now because we don't have one at this time, but we will in the future. So,
But then when, you know, when there's a wine like a Cab Franc, we don't have our own Cab Franc, but I'm getting ready to start a batch of Cab Franc of our own.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Replace, so we'll replace some of those wines with our own. But, you know, it'll take time for that to happen.
Yeah, but it gives everybody a variety. So when they come here, there's something for everyone here.
Right.
And even those who come here and say, well, I'm a beer drinker, I don't drink wine. Well, we're like, okay, we're going to give you stuff till you like it. And usually they'll try them. They like the Moscatos. They like our Boudreaux's batch, which is a bourbon barrel style, because the whiskey drinkers love that. So, yeah.
Okay, so so you've opened it up. So it's from all over the world right now, but really you have 26 of your own that I know, Dewayne, that you're the winemaker. You are creating, and of course Amy's right there as well. But what is your vision then for the next 5 to 10 years? Are you going to focus on Texas? Are you going to focus on continuing your plan now? Or what kind of have you guys talked about?
Well, as we have the opportunity to travel and meet people and you know, find those resources here in Texas, we would love to bring more, you know, Texas juice into the operation and making more Texas wines. You know, right now we're sourcing juice from all over the world.
Yes, all right.
It comes from Chile, Argentina.
And we'll be growing our own too by then.
Canada, California, and of course our own vineyard will come in over time. So, it's kind of wide open. But as far as the vision for the future, intend to increase our production. Because that's going to be,
huge.
You know,
expanding.
Something we have to do just to keep up with, you know, the demand. Right. That's right now. It's all we can do to keep up with what's
interesting
with 26 different wines.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
It's small batches, so you have to keep it turning constantly.
Yep. And you know, there's always new wine drinkers every day.
Right.
You know, somebody somewhere somehow gets converted. You know.
Well, not to mention that there's thousands of homes being built all around us. This area is just
growing
exploding.
Rapidly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those mothers need to get away from their kids, so they need some wine.
Sure. Right. Awesome. Well, then the vision's good, and then so let's just shift a little bit there. Then part of the business model also is providing this great tasting room. It's actually one of the most comfortable tasting rooms I've been in. I love the wood over here. Reminds me. I spent some time up in Alaska. It reminds me of the wood up in Alaska.
Feel.
Just it's really fun. So, Dewayne, what is your philosophy here? And I'm going to lead into a funny story here in a minute. But what have you been building, and what's going on here? And I saw some great patio outside.
Sure. Yeah, we're definitely looking to expand the patios, and we're going to build a room right next to this one and put a door where this window is into the larger room for, you know, groups to be able to fit up to 40 or 50 people around a table. So
that's great.
And then we'll be expanding the back of the building for production, you know, with their tanks and everything to be done. Because you see the tanks sitting over there. We've got some more in this room behind us. There's space. You know, space is a challenge.
Yeah.
So we're also, we built the stage that you saw outside for
Yes,
concerts, and we've got outdoor restrooms being built.
So tell us what happened to the stage,
so
though.
It wasn't a stage; it was the outdoor bathrooms, I think. So, Dewayne, you want to talk to us? Maybe Amy's story's even better. So,
Amy tells better stories.
We met this great couple, and one of the first things that came out is that he was showing us when we were outdoors, bringing stuff in, that you had a little incident out there. What happened there?
A lesson on gravity.
Great lesson on gravity.
Yeah.
I was just putting the last pieces of trim on the metal roof of the building, and just got a little careless. I actually sat down on the metal to use both hands, putting the screws in, and started sliding, and I didn't grab.
Oh no!
Quick enough from the top, just stopped myself from sliding, and off the roof I went. And I've jumped off roofs, plenty of times when I was a kid, but now at 56, it's not the same.
Doesn't feel the same when you
weigh close to 200.
You said 70?
57.
Oh, I thought you said he was 70.
That's why I am 57. True. Well,
OSHA makes these things called body harnesses.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And I had told him get to call the neighbors down the streets, get somebody to tie the rope and hold you. Oh, I'm not going to be up there very long. And he wasn't up there very long.
Right.
Is that kind of like saying, wait, hold my beer for just a moment?
Yeah.
Well, Amy knows more than me from nursing and also being a female, which means she's way more mature than us guys. That right? I mean, we know that women are way so smarter than us. And all those ladies there should agree with that. They're looking at me probably, but that he was destined to do something silly on top of that roof.
Silly. Wait a minute. I thought us guys do stupid things.
Well, you and I would do the same thing. We would think we're I guess
invincible.
Invincible. There you go. Awesome. So you broke something, brother. What was it?
I shattered my heel.
You shattered your
right
heel.
And
that's got to feel good for entrepreneur, daily work habit, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I was walking around like a pirate for the next six or 8 weeks. I had a peg leg thing I bought off of Amazon. Oh. They have the scooters with the wheels, but I didn't want that because I had stairs to navigate. So I got this thing that straps on. It literally was like a peg leg.
Interesting.
And I was able to go up and down the stairs and pretty much function.
The customers were threatening to buy him an eye patch and a parrot.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, why didn't you buy him an eye patch and a hat?
I see pictures of that. That sounds great. So it's actually a pegged leg that you strap on your knee. And
you should make him start talking like pirate.
So funny. Well, then in addition to that, not that I'm accusing you, Dewayne, of being like lack of motor skills or anything like that, but you also started doing the bee business as well.
Oh yeah.
So why? Because we've met some winery owners who think that is an amazing thing. I think we had honey at one location, which was cool.
Yeah.
So you're now into that endeavor as well. And then what happened yesterday?
Well, I was telling it was Mike, right? Earlier that remember the old window sticker that the rednecks would put on their trucks that said "Ain't scared."
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my motto. I just ain't scared to try something.
Ain't scared.
And with the bees, the bees are.
That's a different story.
Yeah. Well, you watch videos of people that go out and work with the bees with no gloves or a suit on, and it looks really cool. So you kind of want to think you could be that chill person that can go out there and do that. So yesterday I decided to walk out there without the suit and just open up the hive and take a look. Which I've done before, and I've mowed and weeded around the hives, and I've gotten by with that. So I open up the top. First bee that flies out comes up and stings me right on the eye.
Oh,
so I'm like, okay. So I put the lid back down and I walked away, and I was like, okay. Goes down. And so now.
Well, most of us guys are kind of whiners with our wives and that sort of thing. So, Amy, let's hear the real story. How did he come in? What was his excuse? What was his?
No, actually, she hit me with a shoe last
night. Yeah.
No, what he said is actually what happened that day. But I have another bee story where we were rescuing bees that were in one of our barrels at the gate up front.
Okay.
And he had his bee suit on, but he didn't have his nice long socks. And so his ankle that is recovering from the fall off the roof was exposed. And as he's pulling the honeycomb out of the barrel, the bees start stinging his ankle because that's the only thing that's exposed. So he's jumping and going, he's hollering. I said, don't swat him. And I'm just standing there because if you swat him and you smush him, they attack you.
Yes.
And so his ankle that was already swollen became even more swollen. Yes.
I can see it now. I can see the bees with their digital readouts on their head, like exposed skin.
Yeah, exactly. They know exactly where to go.
Well, Dewayne, you're definitely going for punishment, and I appreciate it. But it's just part of being an entrepreneur, isn't it? You're just learning things that you're going to bump your toe and scuff your elbow, and you're going to fall. And
you kind of got to be ready for anything, and being a winemaker, you also have to be a plumber, a carpenter,
Sure.
And
electrician, just anything that comes up, you got to deal with it.
And you have to have a good spouse that could be also a good nurse or is a nurse.
Good support
30
system.
years,
Pull out the Band-Aids and say, okay, here you go. Here's your boo-boo.
She's even got plans to put in a, what do you call those thing?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have an AED on site. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say an infirmary.
Oh, no. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can come here and get your medical procedures done and drink wine.
Multi-purpose facility, yes. So, Amy, you were talking about your staff before we started this podcast, and you're really proud of your staff. We met the other Amy, of course.
Yes.
They're working hard now. But who was the young gentleman we met when we came in as well?
Oh, as my youngest son, Tanner. And he wanted to work in the winery. He was really interested when we opened it. And both my boys were real instrumental in helping us when clearing the property and all that. But he went and got his food handler certificate so that he could help in the kitchen because he loves to cook and he loves food, right? All teenage boys do.
Absolutely.
So, but he's working the kitchen today for us.
Very nice.
And he'll do that every now and then, earn some money, pay for his car.
Pay for his car. But your staff, so you have you two hardworking people. You have your son, Tanner, who we met.
Yes.
And we have the other Amy. Who are some of your staff members? What do you have in terms of a staff? Because you're really a small winery. I mean, really
We
right
are.
now.
Yeah, we have
some other folks that help out.
Yeah, we do. We have another young lady named Lily who's about to go off to college, Texas Women's University.
Awesome.
She works in the kitchen as well, and she can also help pour and serve. She's TABC certified too. And we have Jerry, who's the other Amy's mother, and she helps out every now and then because she loves to come and have some fun. It's a little break from her regular job, and she'll help in the kitchen too. And let's see, Valerie is here also. She's here today somewhere working.
Somewhere. I think it matters.
Yeah, so she's a server. She runs food and serves the wine and talks to people.
We have a couple others too that work part-time.
Part-time. Chantel, she's a cute little 4 foot 10. Yeah, she's real
4'10".
cute. So she works part-time.
So
she's
she's
also
the
a medical
dynamite.
person.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
That's
she
awesome.
is. We have a little stool that Dewayne broke the other day. She would use the stool to reach the wine glasses up top because she can't quite reach them. And he broke her stool. So now he's got to make her a new stool.
Well, say no, Dewayne. He'll manufacture and create a new one. It won't be a problem. You'll be here shortly. We're probably doing it right now.
Apparently it's not made for 250 pounds.
Right.
Yes.
Cool. So great staff, great community.
Yeah.
Everything's working out well here for sure, and it's good.
Right.
So, you guys have a wine club. Do you have music? Do you have entertainment here? What are some things you guys are really showcasing for your community, but also bringing and attracting people from outside of this little community?
Yeah,
so, what's bringing people in?
Well, the music is a big thing. We want to make Farmersville kind of the new Luca Bach.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So
Luke Buck is not feeling no pain.
right.
Right.
One day we'll have Willie Nelson out here.
Willie and family.
But
If he makes.
But no, with the music, we've had a couple of big music events already. We had the Farmersville Chamber of Commerce put on a music festival where we had 3 bands in one day, and
Nice.
That was here on site.
Yeah.
On site.
That's fantastic.
Food trucks, 3 bands.
Yeah,
and-
Wow.
and that went pretty good. We had about 150 people for that.
Why not?
We've had a couple other big ones at New Year's Eve that went over really well. And what was the latest one that got rained?
we did the pre-July 4th party where we got
Oh,
kind of
Monday
rained
night.
out at the end of the evening, and a lot of people had to scatter, and the customers went into the cornfield and did that
Right.
Children of the Corn picture
That's
that
really
I showed
cool.
you
Yeah,
earlier.
That was a cool picture.
Oh, man.
That was
Actually,
on a
I'm
Monday
liking the picture.
night, and we again had about 150 people here for that.
Okay.
The storms came in and kind of shut it down about 30 minutes, early, but I had a really good
But
crowd.
it's fun. We throw sawdust on the dance floor out there. The bands start playing, people start dancing, and we're going to have big events in the future, at the end of September, and then Halloween and Veterans Day. So we'll have lots of stuff going on.
Awesome.
That's one thing I've learned, though. The wineries that are really thriving, and obviously you guys are doing great. You're on the right trajectory for sure.
Yeah.
Trajectory. Sorry, not trajectory, but trajectory. But there has to be an additional thing. And the wine's always great, right, Amy? The wine's always fun. That's great. The people are always fun. But having that additional thing. So are you attracting people from McKinney? Are you getting people from outside to come to see you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
We get people from all around.
Yeah,
all around.
We've been
Awesome.
surprised to see that we've had people from, a lot of people come here to visit other people. So we've had people from France, England.
Nice.
I mean,
One couple got lost, and they were lost trying to get back home to Ohio. And I don't know, their GPS told them the wrong way, and they saw our blue highway sign that said Cedar Hollow Winery this way, and
they
they're like,
stopped in.
let's just go get some
when
wine.
you're lost,
And
find
so
a winery.
they came in and drank and took wine back.
I love it.
There was a song like that from Charlie Daniels called Uneasy Rider.
Uneasy Rider.
That's right. Well, I knew you guys liked music when I walked in because I'm an Eagles maniac. And so you guys were playing Eagles when I walked in. So I told Dewayne, it's like, you guys guys know your music. That's a good thing. That's for sure. That's beautiful. Well, cool. Well, and then the wines, Amy, what are some of the other wines that you guys are making that you want to showcase here today that will intrigue people to come see you?
Wow. We have a lot of favorites. Of course, the Amarone is a big favorite. Our Boudreaux's Batch is also a favorite. It's our bourbon barrel style Cabernet Shiraz blend. So those, whiskey drinkers really like the smoky caramel flavor that's in there. We have really good Merlot. Our Zinfandel is real good as well. It's got nice peppery notes, kind of earthy. It's really a little bit spicy. And gosh, everybody, there's sweet wines too that are, the Montepulciano.
Montepulciano is one that you would normally find on the lower shelves at the stores, but it really stands out as a favorite among our customers.
It won a silver medal at the San Francisco Chronicle competition.
I saw it on your website. I'm going to get a little taste that day, maybe buy a bottle, but I saw that. I was really intrigued by that out here. That's pretty cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, Montepulciano is actually being a big thing now because a lot of wineries are seeing that now. And prior to my drinking wine and drinking white wines, I never saw that. And all of a sudden, like this year is just like exploded on the scene. It's like it was not there, and all of a sudden now it's here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Then we have some really good sweet wines as well. People love that. They're not dessert wines, but they're mixed sweets. So like we have the blackberry Cabernet, the raspberry Merlot, a peach apricot fusion, which is a white wine, our cranberry crush, which is made with a Pinot Gris. All of them have been very popular and just fly off the shelves.
Those all sound, my mouth started watering when she was rattling those off. That sounds really good. That was really good. Well, cool. Well, I'm really proud of you guys for that. And just keep doing it. I looked at your menu online here as well. The other Amy gave me a menu to look at, but let's just shift gears one more time here real quick. And I want to get into Dewayne. Dewayne, you have some experiences here I want our listeners to hear about. You said you have a vast knowledge and experience with like processing the grapes and watching that whole process. In fact, you showed me a little visual a minute ago of a processing plant maybe or something like that. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and some of your experiences there? And a lot of people wouldn't you agree, they get a bottle of wine and they drink it.
Right.
They recycle the wine bottle and they have no clue the hard work, but also the processes that go into making that bottle of wine. So go ahead. Cheers.
Well, there's, we were talking earlier before, we got started about the supply chain in any industry. Winemaking is a manufacturing business. So it's important to understand that there's a worldwide industry of winemaking that is supplied by a supply chain. And there are tiers to that. So right now, what we're doing is we're buying juice. Okay. And it just makes sense that in the juice market, there's different qualities of juice at different prices. So from the beginning, what we do is we look for the best juice that we can find in that market. And it's really kind of strange. There's a lot of misconceptions about that.
Sure.
When you talk about buying juice, people automatically think Welch's grape juice.
Exactly.
Good example.
And no, you don't go buy Welch's grape juice off the shelf at Kroger. In fact, you don't even find these companies. If you Google grape juice for making wine, you can't find these. They don't advertise. They don't service they don't sell to the public. They don't sell in the open market. You have to be a licensed winery to even set up an account to get, these products. So, but we're buying juice from this, from some of the same big names that you would easily recognize. Like, we can't use their names because you're not allowed to. Right. But, if you say, one of the major producers in California starts with an M, that's a lot of people can figure that out.
Right. I'll just go and bleep that out. California. I'm just going to bleep that one out.
Bleep it out.
But the reason why our wines are winning awards is because we buy juice that is, made for that. To make wine that will win awards. And I may have gotten off track, in talking about that, but we have the resources to start with the base product that makes great wine. You can't make great wine from inferior product. Right. You just can't do it.
So what he's saying is we get the higher quality juice.
Yeah.
So when we do make our wines and start the production, it's a better quality wine, a better end product.
Right.
And that's
and then the process getting from there to there, I'll let you explain.
Right. And then what you do with it from there is kind of the same process you would do with any
fruit or vegetable, or anything like that.
It's you have to be, like Amy was saying earlier, everything has to be, very sanitary, very clean. You have to control the process. You have to not rush the process. That's the other big thing. And that's one thing that really works well for me is that I travel. I go out of town, for jobs and such. Well, wine is really good at just sitting there waiting for you to get back to it.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do with the wine making process is to rush through the steps.
Correct.
So the longer you can just wait until, it's time, or even a little longer before you go to the next step with it, the better.
Right.
And, without getting into the weeds of, what you do, between rackings and, all the process, it's basically time. You have to be patient. You have to be, everything has to be very sterilized and clean. So,
and it's like a science experiment too, with like the specific gravities, the residual sugars, all the testing that goes into it too, to make the pH, make sure everything is just right.
Yeah.
So you don't ruin a batch,
Yep. It's like a science thing, but Michael Barton down in Fredericksburg, but a lot of these people are talking about that right now. It is the heart, and it's the soul, and it's all the things, but the sweat equity, but it's a little chemistry and science as well, and the cleanliness. So that's one of the first things times we've heard that. I love Amy's take on that. You got to keep things clean and sanitized.
Yep. And I think it was James who actually talked about the whole chemistry, that he didn't want to do the chemistry part of it, but he had to go take chemistry class.
Yeah, right. Learn about it. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So you guys done a good job. Let me read one more quote, if that's okay with you guys. And this comes straight from their website, but Cedar Hollow Winery was realized to focus on our love of fine wines and a passion for quality over quantity. All of our wines are fermented and blended on site. There are no bulk wines used at all. In addition to the wines we make, we feature wines from other makers, which we enjoy or have a personal connection with. More than anything, and Will, this sums up this couple for sure, and this entire culture. We enjoy making new friends with people who come out to see us, and we sincerely appreciate your support. So it kind of sums it all up, doesn't it, guys? It brings it all together.
I've said this many times on multiple episodes before, is you never see a fight at a winery.
Yes. For this table right here. I'm worried about this table over here.
Over there.
Yeah, we got some wine drinkers over here.
But you find bar fights, but you never see a fight at a winery. You always hear people laughing.
Yeah,
and that's the greatest thing about wine.
Learning and talking and embracing and connecting. Yeah, for sure.
That's the other thing from the beginning I found really cool about the wine industry is that everyone that you meet, for the most part, is very supportive. When you tell them you're starting a winery or you have an interest, they're always supportive and helpful. They want to be helpful.
And, that's the one thing, that's the reason why a lot of the California wineries are coming to Texas, is because Texas wineries help everybody out. Who was it?
It's a community.
Yeah, it's a community. But who was it at Bending Branch? Was it Bending Branch Winery or Vineyard?
I remember talking about it.
But he came up with a word that said cooperation. You cooperate with everybody else, but it's also still a competition, because y'all can get a Cab Sauv from the same vineyard as another winery, and y'all make two totally different Cab Sauvs.
But also, Dewayne and Amy are awesome people, and they probably want to help everyone, and they want to grow.
Yeah.
But when their Amarone kicks butt, they take a little. They stand right here. They put their finger in the air. It's like, baby, that's competition right there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, how do folks reach out to you guys? I mean, what's your physical location? How do we find you? Then also your social media. What kind of accounts do you have going right now?
We have an Instagram presence, and we also have a Facebook account, so you can follow us there. We are at 540 County Road 698 in Farmersville, Texas, right off the 380. So there's the blue highway tourism signs you'll see coming from each direction on the 380. So it helps you locate us. There's also another little sign out by the road saying, "Come this way through the cornfield."
I saw that.
I like to joke and tell people that we tried to keep it a secret as long as we could.
Ooh, I like that. That's very, very good.
And we're working on our new web.
The highway, and that was it.
Right.
It was over.
Sorry.
Awesome. Well, Dewayne, wrap it up. I mean, you have something really special going on here. I really admire you. I think you are adventurous. I think you're hardworking. I think you're friendly. I think you're a good man. But what maybe something you want to share with our listeners and with the world? Keep in mind, we're in 13 or 14 countries now. So what do you want to share with our listeners?
Well, one thing I'm really excited about getting the vineyard planted, but we're going to do things a little different in that we're sitting on the Black Houston clay soil.
Okay.
Which is very dense. It's it holds water like a bowl. You know, the ponds have no liners. They hold water all year round. It's a very it's kind of like a Sybil type soil. It has very multiple personalities. Throughout the day, it goes from being like soupy and I'll skip the expression my dad used to use, but yeah, it was, and then it goes from that to dry, crusty, and cracked. But what I have in mind to do, and I haven't really found any examples of this around the area, and I visited some other vineyards in the area, but what I intend to do is build up the rows by using railroad ties as retainers. And we're going to build the soil in between with irrigation under the compost bed that we're going to do. It'd be like people do vegetable gardens as a raised bed garden.
Sure.
And then we'll have the rows in between, so it's going to be a taller trellis than what you find elsewhere.
How clever!
And I figure, we're going to have maybe 5-6 acres of vines.
Yeah.
And why not try something different?
Yeah,
because
that's
drainage
cool.
is the key thing in a soil like what we have.
Okay.
I've never had a vineyard before, but like I said earlier, I'm not scared to try something new. So
Well, and one thing too, we're doing this all ourselves.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
No one is coming in and helping. We're doing it all on our own. We
Right.
are going to have volunteers though when it comes time to plant. But yeah, so we're pioneering a new idea that Dewayne has come up with.
And I'm not necessarily an
for the
engineer,
vineyard.
but I've watched a few.
You've been around.
Yeah,
you
watched
got
a
it
few
figured out.
videos.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about that sounds really cool. And
But
shit,
it just makes sense. It's
Yeah.
kind of a common sense approach
It
to
is.
doing that to control the moisture,
Yep.
and just be able to manage the drainage. And
that is
we'll see how it
huge,
turns
though.
out.
That's
Yeah.
huge for anyone in this area who's hoping to do something like this. That is brilliant information.
Yeah,
That's
it'll
really,
be
really
unique.
good. And it'll be clever and
Yeah.
unique. I like that.
Right.
And Amy, how about you? How do you want to wrap this up today? Anything on your heart that you want to share?
Did you want to
Any other
finish
good stories about Dewayne?
Did you want to finish your social media stuff also? Because
Interrupted?
Well, yeah, we do have a new website as well that we're starting. So, if everyone can kind of be a little patient with us as we're getting it going, but it's www.cedarhollowwinery.com.
Beautiful.
And it has a really nice opening photo of our front gate with a sunset behind it.
Nice.
And right now, our event page actually crashed the site, so you won't see the events just yet on the
I went to it
website.
today and it said you are not allowed on.
Yeah, but you can see the events on Facebook. So
Okay.
go there for the
Awesome.
events right now until we can work with our internet provider or whoever it is that we need to do to get
Rebuild
the
that
event
part.
page working. So go to the website, check it out. We do have all of our wines on the website. I will be uploading more information about those wines. Right now, you may see the descriptions aren't really there yet. So it's brand new. We're getting there. But that's a really huge. So Instagram, Facebook, website, come see us at the winery. We do have the tasting room. We have lots of food. We'd love to see you, talk to you, visit you, find out, where you're from. How'd you hear about us?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, from a beautiful little winery and a tasting room in Farmersville, Texas. First time I've been here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool little area.
Yeah, what a treat. So we're going to wrap up session 1 here, Will, with Dewayne and Amy. And anything else you guys want to comment on before we head to our educational portion?
A thought just came to mind. I used to drive into Frisco when it was just a Dairy Queen and a bank.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Wow.
Things
Back
grow.
back in the 80s, right? Farmersville is kind of that way now. In the next 10 years, it's going to be turning into more of a.
Everybody's leaving the big city and going out of the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah, but also
Well,
you
yeah.
have your foot in the cement. You've already established something awesome here. So
Yeah.
Well,
congratulations.
we'd
on
love
your
to bring more
successes.
business to Farmersville too. People, more foot traffic, basically. If you come to our winery, go see the little downtown area. They have a cool little brick street
Right.
square, lots of little shops and antique stores and restaurants.
Yeah, it's like 2 blocks
down
off
there.
the highway, but
Yeah,
you just
so-
blow right
We'll drive
past
through it before we leave
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
and they have the
Beautiful.
first Saturday little onion shed days, so you can come and see a bunch of vendors there. Then you can come out here and have some wine after you do that.
That's
Oh,
nice.
Farmersville used
Yeah.
to be the onion capital.
Oh, she mentioned
Oh,
onions, so I was
yeah.
wondering about that. Okay.
And of
That
course,
made me wonder if I could make-
farmers.
That made me wonder if I could
Uh-oh.
make wine from onions.
Onion
I mean,
wine.
technically, if it's got sugar, in it, you can make wine.
Turns out you
Yeah.
can, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm a
not
fan
being-
of onions, so why not?
You know,
I
make
may try that one day.
you got one
Yeah.
called an Italian garlic onion wine.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Dewayne and Amy. We're
Yes,
grateful for
thank
your
you.
will. Good job. And we'll be back in a moment with part 2.
Yep.
Cool.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, this is Jeff Cole from TexasWineLover.com. We're here with Will, Michael, and Jen from We Know Texas Vino.
And this is Amy Nemec with the Texas Wine Lover mobile app. We're wrapping up the interview and moving into the wine education portion of the episode, so stick with us.
Hey, we're back real quick for a quick little portion. We haven't done this in a while, Will.
Yeah,
we haven't really talked to some of the patrons, but we had a really cool guy who was knocking on my shoulder a minute ago.
Knock, I thought he hit
Dwayne, when he walked in the door, when James walked through the door, he said, "There's my security." So, big, strong gentleman. So, James, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Awesome. I'm glad to be on.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you here, and I talked to you here during our little break, and it sounds like you really enjoy coming out here and having fun. It sounds like Friday nights are maybe a date night for you and your wife.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife started coming here about a year ago. Well, more than a year now, a year and a half or so ago when they first started opening. And I'm not a really big wine drinker. I like sweet wines.
Okay.
Like I said, we were in the military in Tennessee, and we had another small winery we used to go to, and I fell in love with sweet wine there.
Right on.
So, like I said, I've never really been into more wines.
Wine connoisseur or whatever.
Well, what's funny is like coming here, like I'll drink Boudreaux's and I'll drink some of the other drier wines, and they're really good. Like
That's cool.
it almost turns you into an actual wine drinker. I like to say.
Well, you seem like one when you walk in the door.
I can play the card perfect.
They have a term for that's called wino.
Winos, that's right.
Well, James, first of all, thank you for serving our country in the
thank
military.
you.
That's
Thank
amazing. We're very grateful for that. But so tell us about Dwayne and Amy. I mean, they're both troublemakers, but what is
absolutely.
intriguing about them?
Just good people, and that's what's going to make everything successful is the people involved, and the community is a big deal with me too. Because living out here, like I said, when I started coming out here, I told everybody I know we probably bring 5-10 people here a week sometimes.
That's wonderful. Yeah,
we'll bring whole parties, and then any celebration we'll come here. We'll just reserve a table, and I'm sorry. But yeah, community is a big thing to me, especially living out in remote kind of places. Like we use a local butcher, we have a local winery, we have local bars, we have local restaurants. Yep. We don't go out of town for anything, usually on the weekends.
Cool. Well, you mentioned you only live about 5 minutes away. So how beautiful is it? Not only do you have a winery, but a winery you actually enjoy.
I love it.
Ownership and the winemakers are all fantastic.
Absolutely. And then, when they have a big event, we'll come out here and help out and just do whatever my wife likes to serve at wine and talk about wine. She doesn't work here, but she works. Right. She works events sometimes.
Volunteerism is a beautiful thing, right?
So in other words, when they have an event, you're the bouncer.
The bouncer,
That's awesome. Oh, wow. Look at that
that's what I'm saying.
Hey. I just seen a picture. That looks like Tyrus from...
exactly.
That's pretty cool. Well, so give a grade real quick. This winery, this ownership, the people you've met, the community, are you going A+ on this one today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, you come in here, they make you feel like family. They'll tell you anything you want to know. You ask them about wine, and they won't blow you off. They'll talk about this is how we make it, this is what we do, and this is kind of where our vision is, and let's look over here, and I see this over here, and a stage here, and lights and sound.
Well, you must have a good relationship with Dwayne because he denied for at least 10 minutes about the whole bee thing. I just think that that's cool that you built that relationship with him.
We were talking about bees yesterday, and I told them how interesting it was, and they were talking about making wine with the honey, and I was like, it's just awesome. Even if you documented it, even through your podcast or YouTube, it's just a really good story. And talking to these two, it's just amazing to listen to it all, and where they came from, where they are now. Just after a year and a half, they're already winning, big competitions in California like it's nothing.
Right.
So.
Well, let me ask you one last question. So Dwayne, who's sitting, I'm looking at Dwayne right now, but he seems like the humble, quiet assassin, but he is pretty brilliant. He's got things going on, yes?
He is very good, very talented man.
Yep.
Very
and he's got a great
man.
partner in Amy, and things are hopping around here. So
it's overall a really great experience. Like I was telling you, when people come out here from the city, they'll sit on the patio out here. They're like, wow, the stars are so bright and it's so quiet and it's just peaceful and you can hear the bugs. They have lightning bugs sometimes out in the fields.
Yeah, right.
The cornfields right there if you really want to get
that's pretty
crazy.
cool.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, James, we appreciate your time, but I know you were having some fun with maybe a kid of yours over there. But thanks for visiting with us today. Thanks for supporting this great winery.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, James.
Great place.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yep, thanks.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here with the educational portion of We Know Texas Vino. We're here with some awesome people with Dwayne and Amy. But Will, my friend, you're going to introduce some fun educational stuff today. What is it all about?
This has always been my favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah.
I love talking to the wineries and getting to know the people and stuff. But, this is probably the whole premise behind this podcast was the education part, And we get a lot of feedback that people love this education part.
Right.
So,
And Amy, not Amy, Amy's next to me. Jen, our favorite friend Jen, has been doing a great job with education portion, but she's actually studying for some wine honoraries right now.
She's going to be WinSet 3.
I know.
Luck,
so we left Jen at home to study her test tomorrow. So Will, introduce us. What are we doing for education today?
So today we're going to talk about wine temperature and wine temperature during processing. So basically starting from the time you get your grape to the fermentation to bottling and to storing and to serving.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, I mean, you don't have to.
You may not remember all the steps.
Yeah, you don't have to go all in depth scientific and stuff, but just do what's been recommended, what you do, and just from there.
Being self-educated in the winemaking process, I would like to put this out there for the people who are thinking about doing something in the wine business, or that maybe want to try winemaking and have no idea how complex it is. And there's always a fear of, am I going to screw this up? I'm spending thousands of dollars, just getting to the point of putting the yeast into the juice, and I don't know if I'm going to do it right or not. Well, I've done it wrong, and I've learned some lessons along the way. And I've literally, bought thousands of dollars worth of juice that shows up at 26 degrees on a truck, comes off the truck, goes into a tank, and starts to warm up. And then you realize that you don't have enough yeast to put in the tank.
Oh, no.
You need to have the yeast at the right time. When it gets to a certain temperature, you're supposed to inoculate. Well, the wild yeast does its thing that, it's already in the juice, and it takes off and starts fermenting. And you ordered the yeast that you forgot, to have in the refrigerator, and you put the yeast in late. Well, the wild yeast has already kicked off, and it's cooking the juice, and you're working in a warehouse where you don't have proper temperature control, and the juice is hitting 100 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And so having done that, you don't want to do that.
That's the opposite of what you want to do.
That was a lesson learned. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So from the very beginning, before I ever got really interested in being in the business, I've been to the wine country and toured some of the biggest wineries in California, and just saw all that equipment and thought, wow, that's you have to be a zillionaire to even jump into that.
Right.
How are you ever going to afford to have all that equipment and the glycol coolers and the jacketed tanks and all that. Well, getting back down to earth, you don't have to have all that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing small batches, you can get by like we are here with a central air conditioning unit that you keep the room at 72 degrees. That is if you're doing small batches in small tanks. You start doing larger batches, you have to have that jacketed tank, and you have to have the glycol coolers, because when you get up in the range of 80, 85 degrees, you're pushing it. Mm-hmm. You want to keep your tanks in the area of 75 to 80 degrees max. So that's really important, because you lose a lot in the winemaking process if you let things get too hot during fermentation. You're just wasting your time, and you're throwing money away, because the wine's going to taste like crap. That's important. Luckily, we're still making batches that we've done up to 300 gallons, but I've broke that into separate tanks. So generally we're at 100 gallons or less.
Okay.
And even at that, sometimes you have to keep the lid off, and let it breathe, have the fans running or whatever, to keep that temperature under control. As we increase production, we're going to have to, gear up for that. No better than to try to do 300 gallons in one tank, because the thermal runaway is just, you can't do anything about it. You can't dump ice in it. It's not going to work. So, just learn the hard way, what not to do. I honestly don't have experience with doing 500 or 1,000 gallons or more at a time, like some of the big operations. Yeah. But I know that I'm not going to do that until I get equipped for it. So moving to the next step of clearing the wine after the fermentation is done and things have settled down, you want to keep wine cool. One of the things I've learned to do is to use a vacuum pump, for removing the CO2 from the wine. That helps tremendously in getting the wine to clear.
Okay.
So I've got I've gone through a few upgrades on our vacuum system that I use for that, and it's very effective. beats the heck out of trying to use a mixer or other methods of getting the gas from the wine. So there's that. And staying with the temperature, on the red wines, generally room temperature is what we do. Ideally you would have a cellar and you would keep it at 65 degrees or
55.
Or 55,
Yeah.
That brings up another thing that I've had. You see the pictures on the wall, by the way? The one behind you. Look at this.
I love the one behind you.
See that?
Yes.
Well, that's where you do that. An underground cellar.
Oh, I've got one of those at my house.
And if you didn't catch on to this earlier, I really like digging holes in the ground. So eventually we're going to have an underground cellar.
Digging a cellar out here at one point. Storm shelter.
There is a winery over in Fredericksburg that's done that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things I want to do is build an underground cellar. So stay tuned for that.
Yahoo! We'll come back and visit that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So the temperature control is important. We've also done a lot of cold crashing for the white wines. So we have a huge freezer that we bought for that, and we have to transfer the wine into carboys to fit in the freezer.
The white wines, yeah.
But that's primarily the white wines, the Chardonnays, the Riesling, the Sauvignon Blanc. But that brings to mind, too, on the red wines that we never filter any of the red wines.
Okay.
And we've got the process down to where we don't have to.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Better
so
taste.
Pretty proud of that.
Yeah,
you bet.
Yeah, it strips a lot out of the red wines when you start running it through filters. So just having gotten to the point where, I could say with confidence that I don't have to filter any of the red wines, it's something to be said for that. And as far as storing the wine in the bottles, there's
keep it down in this around
we try
55 to
keep,
60 degrees
cool.
down in the back room.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but then that leads back to the underground cellar idea. We definitely want to
which that will be a few years away, but we are planning to expand. As you see the concrete pads on either side of the building, we are going to expand out the back, which will allow us to have a properly cooled room at all times. So we're not going to be having to fluctuate the temperatures a lot. We can control better during the fermentation process and the actual clearing process and everything during the wine making itself in the back. So that's in the plans. It will happen, and then they'll have mini splits back there. We'll get the wrapped tanks at that point that will help keep them chilled at a certain temperature. But when they're fermenting, it gets hot.
Power outages.
That would be a fear of mine, I think, because power outages and just not losing control of what you're trying to accomplish.
That is probably the scariest thing about being a winemaker is you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. Oh, there's a storm came through and I'm out of power for the next 8 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
We do have a generator that can keep us on board for about a day or so right now. And then in the future, we will look towards getting a larger one that will go further.
And then you have the Snowmageddon thing.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how did that go on with y'all?
We were able to use the fireplace and heaters, to keep the place warm.
It was cold, but we did,
pipes?
No, well, yes, we did. Right here, there was down here was water from an upstairs tankless water heater.
Water heater froze.
And luckily, he's really good at what he does, so he was able to go up front, way up to the street, cut off the water, and he cut the pipes, soldered them shut with different caps and things, and save the tasting room.
Yeah, you have to be
MacGyver,
jack of all trades.
Yeah,
awesome.
Cool. Well, that's interesting, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that listeners need to know about because one of the things we love doing, you guys, is connecting with people who have this vision like you guys did. I mean, you had this vision, but there's this comfort zone. There's this getting out of that box. And this is the information that's going to help educate and help people with those decisions.
But I want to just go back real quick to say that, it's important, but you can do it at room temperature. Now, we're drinking wine that won the largest competition in the country, San Francisco Wine Chronicle Wine. That was
best
done
of
at room
class.
temperature.
Yeah.
So
it depends on what room temperature is, because like right now, because it's summertime and it's like 9,000 degrees outside, and room temperature at my house is 85.
Oh no, we keep it down. We keep it down here like 69 to 71.
Where are you from again?
Yeah,
I'm in North Richland Hills, so I'm coming out here.
Where are you from again? 85. Awesome.
Yeah, and you don't want your wines to freeze either or get too cold, because then during Ice-Mageddon, again, you can have what is what's called wine diamonds and wine rubies, right? Because your wines, if they're not filtered properly when they're being made, or like we don't need to filter some of our wines, others do the cold crashing process, which helps that settle out. But if they freeze on your shelf, even at home, you go buy a wine from the store or from a winery and you're storing it at home, it gets a little too cold in your house, you have an ice mageddon, you lose your heat. You're going to have that sediment that kind of falls out of your wine, and you think, oh my gosh, what's that floating around in my wine? Well, it's the wine diamonds in the white wines. It's the wine rubies in the red wines. But it doesn't mean your wine.
Ruby before.
It doesn't mean the tartaric acid. It solidifies and it crystallizes inside and it falls out. Okay. But your wine is still okay to drink. It's still okay. It doesn't make it bad. Just you can put a little cheesecloth filter on that, pour it in your glass. You're not drinking those little crystals. But it doesn't hurt you. It's just that's a natural process of the wine when it freezes.
Did not know that. So, I did not know that.
So it's actually a sign of good quality wine if you see that.
It is,
okay, good.
Yeah. I knew if you see the wine crystals on the cork, it was a good sign of a good wine.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Cool. Right.
So
awesome. Well, that's educational. Anything else you guys on that?
Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah. And winemakers always have something else they want to add. Yes, sir. Dwayne? Anything else?
Will's not going to say one more thing.
No, Will's good. Well, I kicked you under the table. We're good. Well, we appreciate the education, Dwayne.
Yes,
you're obviously very, very good at what you do. I say great.
Practice. I've done a lot of batches
yes,
of wine.
Yes, sir. Well, I was going to say earlier, school of hard knocks. It just came to my mind. And it just, going in, and Amy, you said it too, we learn from experiences, right? So that's what you got to do, folks. You got to learn from experiences. So learn, continue. So, Will, what a great podcast. That was a lot of fun out here, right?
Yeah, it was great.
What's your takeaway from the day, sir?
Becoming an entrepreneur, winemaker myself, you kind of inspired me just a little bit more because
inspiration.
You have not had any education,
right? Yeah,
and I don't either, and I'm jumping in this head first, or as bald guys say, first. But it inspires me even more to go forward into this.
Well, you don't have to be a scientist or an
He's
engineer.
Not.
Yeah,
I'm an engineer.
Right? But you don't have to be. You can do it just by trial and error.
Right.
And I have sprayed wine all over the kitchen before.
Love it.
It's, there are those times, but you can do it, and you can be successful at it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's really a fun process just to watch, as the fermentation's happening and you're mixing and you see that yeast, it's rolling in the wine. And then sometimes it makes really cool designs on the top as you're mixing it.
That's cool. That's cool design. Such a female approach.
We have a picture we show you. Looks like this Scooby-Doo cartoon.
Yeah, we're looking forward to making wine from the honey too.
That'll be cool.
Yeah,
creative again, innovative.
Cool,
I love it. Well, my takeaway is that the couples we meet, not just the individual, but couples we meet who are doing something adventurous like this. You always know when something's going to be successful when you see their spirit and their energy and their enthusiasm and their karma. And you two are doing a great job here. My takeaway really is just that you two are doing something beautiful here. It's a great community. I love it out here very, very much. I'm going to move in with James here pretty soon. So, but congratulations. My takeaway really is just that your energy and your enthusiasm and your intelligence, but also your desire to do something great is why you will be successful. And I admire that very much in both of you. So that's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations on everything.
Yeah, thank you.
So reaching out to Cedar Hollow Winery and Vineyard, you have all the social opportunities, right, Will? And and visit their website, which I did today. It was perfect. And then reaching out to us, please come out, 5-star rating. We love you guys. And of course, we're in 14 countries now. We're waiting to get to 20. And we want to break the top 90. We want to do the top 90 top podcasts in the country, which is cool. We're at like 99 right now, which is cool. So
that's awesome.
I have quotes.
Yeah, so this is my favorite part of the podcast.
It's your favorite part?
It's not talking to y'all at all, or the education at all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I always end my podcast with quotes. I have two, but I actually have a third one now. I just have to say these words in this FM evening broadcast voice. Ready?
Okay, do that.
Long, seductive finish. I had to say that. I had to say it one more time. But also a quote, wine is bottled poetry. I think Amy will agree with that. Mm-hmm. And the last quote is from Ernest Hemingway himself. Wine and friends are a great blend. Amen. How's that sound? All right?
Yes.
So we're excited. Thank you again, you guys. This is Cedar Hollow Winery in Farmersville, Texas, and we had a great time. So from Will and Michael,
this is We Know Texas Vino.
We love it. Have fun. Cheers.
Awesome.
Yay.